You are not alone. Story 1. We just had a newborn baby girl almost 2 weeks ago, and managing my firstborn, who is around 4 years old, has been extremely tough. She loves her dear sister, but her love is very passionate. She is very strong in her emotions, and we have to guide her to be gentle. Needless to say, this has been the most challenging part of my parenting journey so far. Story 2. My cancer is causing nutrition and heart problems. I am debating whether to continue fighting it or to relax into palliative care. I cannot continue living like this. Something has to change. Story 3. For 8 years, life was perfect. Great children, a happy wife, financial stability, and retirement on track for 2029. Everything was ideal until 2 years ago. That is when the human resources representative falsely accused me of sexual harassment. This came shortly after I, as union president, helped a member file a sexual discrimination charge against her. In retaliation, she filed a complaint against both of us, alleging bullying, libel, and that I had suggestively winked at her, a gesture only she supposedly saw. Our union has sued the employer for retaliation and interfering in union business. We are currently awaiting our court hearing in July. In 25 years there, I have never had so much as a negative review, let alone any reprimand or write-up. This year-long lawsuit has taken a significant toll on my mental and physical health. I have 4 years until retirement. I used to love working there. Now I hate the place. Story 4. If you woke up in the morning and do not have any health issues, then all other problems do not really matter that much. They come and go. Story 5. Credit can be hard to overcome when you are in debt. Even if the amount is not as much as what many people have, it is still challenging to manage, especially when you want to use your money for other things. Story 6. Cannot seem to put a substance down. Cannabis, ZYN, 10 years off heroin. I can totally manage my life. Good health, job, money, family. Every man has his vices, they say, but do they? Story 7. I am in my mid-40s and facing the reality of getting older without having adequately prepared. I have never been in a proper relationship and have mostly gone through life alone. I will not be in a position to retire or own a home because I did not buckle down and finish school when I was younger and had plenty of time. Now, I am stuck making $50,000 a year doing something I have no passion for. Waking up every day and wondering what I am doing with my life and what kind of future I have weighs on me more and more. I feel bored, lonely, and disillusioned, teetering on the edge. Story 8. Laid off 2 weeks after becoming a father. Also, no severance. Great timing. Life. The baby is happy and healthy, thankfully. Story 9. I have zero passion or enthusiasm for my job. I am only here because I do not want to go job hunting. Every minute I am at work, I mildly contemplate suicide. Every minute outside of work, I spend dreading returning to work. I cannot enjoy my time outside of work because whenever I try to engage in my hobbies or socialize, it feels like I am using them as distractions to avoid misery instead of actually having fun. So instead, I waste time on pointless activities because I do not want to taint the enjoyable and enriching things I like with these negative thoughts. This leads to more misery because I am not doing the things I enjoy most. Story 10. A little over a year ago, my uncle passed away. 72 hours later, his wife fell and broke her back. They had no children and asked me to take care of things for them as they got older, so my entire life has been spent handling every aspect of their estate. I had to rehome 2 dogs, 2 cats, and my aunt, take over all banking and bill payments as my aunt is in the early stages of dementia, sell, move, donate, or pack up everything they own, and I am now close to putting their home on the market. My aunt is back in my city, but their place is 3 hours away, so my weekends have been spent driving there to handle everything. If I can sell the house, cars, and miscellaneous items this year, it will be a huge burden lifted, and I can return to my life. Story 11. Struggling to be my best at work, I was forced to leave a certain department because a coworker verbally abused me over my mistakes. The day I broke down crying because I knew I couldn't handle all the work by myself. I told my boss I needed help. My boss said that if I couldn't do it, I should just clock out and go home. To me, that sounded like, if you leave, You're fired. I spent most of the time crying, working slowly, and receiving help from a coworker and a helper. However, I was still too slow to complete the orders, and my coworker was understandably dumping her frustrations on me. I had to call my mother to walk me home from work because I couldn't trust myself. Dark thoughts without any relief are really scary, especially when life feels like it's pushing you toward a cliff. Let's just start trading rocks and seeds again like old times. Capitalism is awful. Story 12. Working a difficult job to support a small business I started. The business is growing, but it will take time. I am staying somewhere temporarily, and I do not think it can last too long, so I need to figure out where I can afford to live soon. Story 13. Remembering to do things can be challenging. I try to take my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder medication, but sometimes I just want to disconnect for a week or 3. When I have to work alone, I end up browsing threads like this instead of working. It feels like a deep part of myself does not want to work, despite living in a world where work is valuable and also good for maintaining mental health. I recently acquired a free motor-driven harmonium on an online marketplace. I really want to go home and lose myself for a moment. An age, a lifetime, immersed in drone notes, warbling harmonics, indistinct chords, and the beautiful electronica pneumatica. Story 14. Dog has major surgery coming up. 2 weeks of basically him in a crate 24/7. 6 to 10 weeks of limited freedom with no jumping of any sort, including onto or off the couch. Realistically, not sure how to make that happen without keeping him in a crate. 12 weeks in a crate 23 hours a day does not seem right, but I have not figured out a better option yet. Then there are the other impacts of the surgery. I can no longer go on the family trip because I do not trust anyone to do the rehabilitation correctly. And $7,000 of extra expenses is not great. Story 15. Just a lot of setbacks all at once. The main thing is my health. I got injured and was out of work for a while. Story 16. I was working on the tailgate window of my Grand Wagoneer. I started by testing the motor, which worked fine. However, I accidentally knocked the alligator clip off the connector with the window down, blocking access. I managed to snake a wire hanger in and use it as a ground wire to get the window back up enough. So that is not really a problem anymore, but I wanted to share my success. Story 17. I have crippling anxiety. I am trying various methods such as meditation, medication, talking to a therapist, and my family, but in certain instances, it just overwhelms me. I wish I could better control it. Story 18. Went into debt to support my pregnant girlfriend and moved her and her 2 kids into my home. Fast forward 3.5 years, and I finally ended the relationship and asked her to leave after receiving nothing but disrespect from her immature behavior and her kids, who have never been disciplined. I had zero appreciation for going into so much debt to take care of everyone, as well as working 2 jobs for a year when she couldn't find a job that wouldn't be negated by babysitting costs. She emotionally manipulated me and used sex against me, exploiting my insecurities. In general, she acted like a spoiled princess instead of the queen I thought I was getting. I ended the relationship in January. The heartache has been real and hard but is slowly improving. The debt is what is most difficult to bear. Story 19. Trying to rebuild my life at 23. Getting used to adulthood and cleansing my mind. I felt like I was behind in life because I spent my early 20s living life and exploring the world. But growth does not come easy. Story 20. Finding the right therapy and medicine combination to be more functional for the sake of my children's future and my own desire for a somewhat normal life. Story 21. I need a newer car but do not have money right now, so I am trying to keep my old 2006 Toyota Corolla running for as long as I can. Story 22. Starting to see that someone I call a friend does not quite share the same definition of the word as I do. Story 23. My brother-in-law has struggled with addiction. He was sober for about 10 years but relapsed last year. He has insisted that he has been sober for 9 months. My husband received a phone call from the jail a few days ago. He was arrested for possession. For me, it has been about money. I was upside down on a car loan for a vehicle that was totaled, which was not my fault. I had to pay that off, make a down payment on a new car, pay the registration for the new car, and cover income taxes as an independent contractor all at the same time. It has been one challenge after another. Story 24. I'm about to lose my job. The project is ending, and my company is shutting down the entire department. I will get a small severance and can collect unemployment. I should be able to find a job, but I'm 53. My wife has health issues and cannot work. The worst thing is I really liked my job, and the company I worked for had great values. I had a lot of autonomy to do what I thought needed to be done to be successful, and now that's ending. There are many more bad companies than good ones. I'll probably end up working in something more corporate and soul-sucking. I will come out all right, but it is going to be harder than I thought. Rant over. Story 25. Broke, overworked, and underpaid. Life expenses and past debts are overwhelming me. I'm upset with the path I took in life. I was young and did not have good guidance. I earned a degree that doesn't help me because nobody really educates you on how important certifications are. The school system and even college don't truly prepare you for what life looks like regarding the degree and path you choose. Turns out my degree is not valuable in my career field. There is no money to be made. I am stuck in a living situation that is unpleasant and cannot do my favorite hobby, making music, which gives my life meaning. I sleep in the living room of a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 friends. I have very different ideals from them and want to get away. Things just aren't what they used to be, and I may have grown apart from them. I have been in this living situation for around 7 months after dropping everything, driving across the country, and coming here only to find it is not what I had hoped. I already want to go back where I came from, which I can, but I would hate that too because I'm tired of relying on family and running to them when things go wrong. I am grown and want to spread my wings and fly. I am far from family, but again, I don't want to run back to them in the same way I did 7 months ago when I left. Past health issues could jeopardize my chance to join the military. I could have joined the National Guard as an officer and attended officer candidate school, but part-time service did not make sense for my life. I would have struggled financially and been stuck here even longer. The Army and Air Force were other options, but the Army may be a no-go, and the Air Force decision is still pending. We shall see. I may end up stuck in the workforce unless I figure out a way to make music work, which is my #1 passion. I think I can do it, but it's a risk. Otherwise, the military might be the solution. I just want to be independent and financially stable. I am tired of struggling. The way life is set up pains me because I dislike my job and the fact I have to live this life, working a 9 to 5 when I want to be free. I can't even enjoy the fruits of my labor due to paying off debt. I have huge goals to help people and do significant things, but they keep being delayed because of the rut I'm in and depend on me vastly improving my situation. I feel existential dread or something similar every now and then, which is new over the last month or so. I just want better for myself. Story 26. Endless loop of work and home, 6 days a week, 11 hours a day. But hey, I am one step closer to winning the rat race. Story 27. I have a probable torn knee ligament and am waiting for a cut on my kneecap to heal before proceeding with the magnetic resonance imaging. I am poor and my life is difficult, but I can always end it if it becomes too challenging. Thankfully, I am not close to that. Story 28. Coping with a breakup after 5 years. She told me she had someone else in mind, even if it was not the reason we broke up. I am 33 years old, and I see all my friends married or with kids or both, while I am here alone sitting on my chair in front of my computer. I am stuck in a job too boring to give me excitement. It does not provide me any joy or ambition, but it pays too well for me to leave. Loneliness. I have friends, but they are busy with their wives and children, which is normal past 30 years old. I made the mistake of investing everything in my ex, and now it feels like I have no life anymore. I am on autopilot, waking up, working, playing on my computer while eating pizza, then going to bed. 5 to 6 months ago, my biggest problem was the location of the house we wanted to buy. Today, it is whether I eat pizza or lasagna, but I am down to earth. I know it will pass with time, but still. Story 29. My biggest problem is trying to sell my house. It has been on the market for 8 months, but due to the rural mountainous area where we live, it is less desirable. We are about a 35-minute drive from larger towns. The property is beautiful, the area is beautiful, and the taxes are extremely low. However, the location seems to be a disadvantage. Story 30. Getting ready to turn 56 and worrying that age discrimination will cause me to lose my job before my two sons finish college. Story 31. Honestly, lust affected my teenage years completely. I spent all that time on pornography and masturbation, which made my life a living hell. I really suffered because of it and still experience the effects of lust even after staying off pornography. It is especially hard for me since I do not attend school or have a job yet. But now that I am in my 20s, I am finally working on myself after several years in a difficult place. Story 32. Lack of support and loneliness. I have to handle every single problem that comes my way, and I seem to have bad luck in that unusual things tend to happen to me specifically. A month ago, a drunk driver damaged my garage door and hit my parked car. It is being handled, but it is infuriating to deal with. I am not struggling with that part so much. It is that I have almost nobody to talk to about anything. My parents have their own problems, and I do not want to bother them. My brother is always busy or fighting with his girlfriend. I can tell that my coworkers get annoyed when I talk about my personal life, and I have some issues at work as well. I have nowhere to express what I think or feel. I just have to keep it to myself, and usually, I end up sitting alone at home, thinking through everything. I do not have the money or time for therapy, and I do not believe that having someone to talk to about everyday occurrences necessarily warrants professional help. Story 33. Just going through the motions of life and going to an unfulfilling job to pay the bills. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Story 34. I need to apply for jobs but face the fear of getting bored and feeling like I am wasting more of my life. I have not worked for over a year due to a health problem, which was corrected in December. I know I need to work, but I do not know what to do. I have many specialties but do not possess any degrees or credentials for them. Story 35. Living paycheck to paycheck, and after a few layoffs at work, I am now doing multiple positions with a bare increase. It is mentally draining, but with the current job market, I have to endure and keep going. Story 36. She is making my medical appointments using her cell phone number instead of mine, so I cannot set up my medical portal because the two-step verification goes to her cell phone, not mine. Story 37. Attempting to pass my licensing exam to become a nurse practitioner. I am studying for the exam and will take it soon, but it is challenging. Story 38. The anxiety of going through upcoming family events now that my wife and I have decided to stay sober. Story 39. After 20 years of marriage, we have one child going off to college and two more doing great in school. I feel we are not connecting and getting ready for an empty nest. Story 40. I just got a job after a period of unemployment. It pays almost $1,000 less than I need to cover my bills each month, but it is $1,000 more than I make right now on employment insurance. Could definitely be worse, but I am very nervous and unsure how to close the gap. All part-time jobs I have applied to have said no when I explained I will be full-time employed elsewhere and would only have specific hours available because of that. It is ironic because I was hired by a bank, but the pay is not enough to live on. That would be too much to expect, I guess. I am trying to be thankful, but mostly I just feel defeated. Story 41. I will probably lose my dream job in mid-August due to the defunding of the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. It really sucks. I was looking forward to doing this for another 30 years, and now it is all just gone. Story 42. I need more money, but the tasks I have to do already take up so much of my time. If I let them slide to pursue more money, I would need to hire someone to do the work, which would then take away all the money I would have made. Story 43. I just aggravated a tendon injury connected to my right thumb. I tried using it too much too early, and now I am back to feeling how I was about 2 weeks ago. Story 44. Strained an intercostal muscle in my chest trying to lift an 8-iron to a 160-yard pin. I hit the shot pin high about 20 feet left. It hurt, though. Story 45. I have been feeling another wave of depression hit, and I do not know how much more I can take. I know I would never do it, but it is always on my mind. Story 46. I do not even know how to put it out there, to be honest. Even laying it out with relative anonymity feels like a chore. I will say, though, for those going through some difficulties, I feel you. Story 47. Moving on from a breakup. I am over it and trying to start dating. I am optimistic, but it is also draining at times. Story 48. There is a lady sitting in front of the cupboard that contains the laminating sheets, and I do not want to disturb her by asking her to move. Story 49. I have a job opportunity that involves less stress but requires a pay cut. However, I am also due for a raise and possibly a promotion that is long overdue with substantially better pay. The catch is that I will not know the amount of the raise for another 2 months, and I have until Friday to accept the other job. Story 50. The good part is that I finally left my hometown, where there was nothing to do, nowhere to go, and no one to see, for a much better city. But coming from a place like that and being trapped there for almost 2 years of my life has taken its toll. I am a boring person as a result of being stuck back there all those years. I feel like I am in another world where I should not exist, yet I do against all odds. I am working on finally becoming my own person at 36 for the first time. I feel like a ghost here, but still prefer it over my hometown by a long shot. I really need to find some friends and hobbies. I am pretty sure that would help a great deal. Getting out of the house more often is important. Remaining a shut-in is no longer the only thing to do. There is so much more to do now. Story 51. I have a COVID Master of Business Administration and nothing to show for it. I do not know what to do at this point. I cannot prolong my job search any longer. Story 52. My wife has a career, and I am still working menial jobs, sometimes 2 at once. I am 23, and she is 31. I do not know what I want to do with my life. We have been married for 2.5 months. Story 53. Not being able to make enough to support my young children is very difficult. My daughter was born with a physical disability, and my wife had an intracerebral brain hemorrhage after giving birth. She suffered a massive stroke that left her permanently paralyzed on her right side. Our pending eviction and lack of resources to keep us in the only stable home my children have ever known make me question the worth of my existence. My dream of providing for the people I love more than anything feels like a distant dream every day, and the reality of failing eats me up inside. Story 54. I need a new job, but I am vital in my current one. It's my family business, so if I leave, I'll never hear the end of it. My fiancé thinks they are all taking advantage of me, which is partly true. I need more money too. The stress is literally eating me alive. My dad's health is failing, and he is supposed to be running the company. His poor health has made him a terrible leader and is a major reason why the company is not moving forward as we planned. He refuses to share his responsibilities. We are in a terrible spot. I am stuck between going down with my family and trying to help my dad and brothers, or saying to hell with them all and taking care of myself. I am not the type to abandon my company, let alone my family. It is pulling me in every direction, and I cannot make anyone happy. Story 55. About to graduate with a Master of Science degree in another country but have not received any responses to job applications. Not even for an interview. Story 56. I am 30 years old. If I want to avoid being homeless, I need a career with real upward growth that I can reasonably see myself in 20 to 30 years. I have my CompTIA A+ certification and my CompTIA Security Plus certification. Now, the hard part is finding a good information technology security job and hoping that this country still exists in 10 years and that I am alive. Story 57. Currently, I am living with my parents after my fiancée unexpectedly left me in January. I sold my house on January 2nd and plan to pay off the wedding expenses and renovate the basement at her house. My credit is damaged, so much of the money went towards paying off old debts. However, my credit score is not improving quickly enough to get approved for a mortgage. I am trying to use the remaining funds to build a townhouse. I paid my down payment, which left me with just enough to furnish the home since we sold all of my furniture and belongings when we moved in together. This is the best I can do, and I can barely afford it on a single income. The stress is immense, and my hope decreases daily. However, my dogs love the pool at my parents' house, and my cats have not run away yet. Story 58. I have a family to support, a house to maintain, and a government job that is being repeatedly targeted for reduction in force by our government. The biggest problem I am facing is my dependency on prescription insulin to manage my type 1 diabetes. Story 59. I am 31 and my memory is poor. I forget people's names and sometimes faces. I forget what I plan to do just a few hours later. I travel a lot and have amazing experiences but forget them quickly. I recently started journaling and I hope it helps me retain at least some memories. Story 60. Career. I lost significant years of my life being in the comfort zone, following the rules, and working hard for someone else rather than for myself. Now I have responsibilities, but I lack skills and therefore cannot demand better pay. I am a slow learner, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder makes things more difficult for me. I am mediocre, and this world is not for mediocre people. 22-year-olds are doing a better job than I am. I am struggling in many ways. Story 61. Office politics. They always say it is not personal, but it is. It does not matter what you know. Who you know is more important. I am not fit for office politics because I am too direct and transparent when communicating. Story 62. I think I am just not satisfied with where I am right now. I am saving money, I have been working out a lot lately, and I have hobbies that I really enjoy. However, I feel as if I am not saving money fast enough to catch up with people my age. I am not progressing quickly enough to reach my fitness goals, and I do not have the time to enjoy my hobbies. Thank you for the question. It made me think about how to best approach things. 1. I will try to be more methodical when preparing for performance and salary reviews. I will find more time for hobbies and sports. I should really stop doom scrolling in the mornings. Story 63. Loneliness consumes you from the inside and makes you vulnerable. I do not feel wanted. Sure, I can join social gatherings or ask to tag along, but in the end, I am the person very few remember or actively want around because I am hard of hearing. I have good social skills, but I do not get to apply them since I cannot follow the conversation well enough. Story 64. A breakup I should have seen coming, but it is hurting. My first ever breakup has been hurting like no pain I have felt before. Having to deal with this in daily life and work is hard, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Story 65. Loathing myself, my career, life, and this breakup. It has been a month, and I have not healed from that last one at all. Story 66. My own mental health is important. I said something that hurt a friend yesterday and feel terrible about it. I do not know if we are still friends, but I hope one day I can receive forgiveness. Story 67. My family, including my parents and grandparents, all have problems with alcohol. Honestly, it is not just now. It has been happening my whole life. I feel like I am alone compared to everyone else with no support system. Story 68. I am unsure how to ask my wife if she would be interested in having a threesome with a friend of ours. Story 69. Locked into a degree and job I do not like or want, but I have no other options without further disappointing and pushing my family away. Story 70. I left a bad relationship. My health has declined significantly in the last month due to stress, and I do not have any more energy left to fight it. I am performing poorly at my job right now. Story 71. Money. I need another 10,000 just to finish my training, and then I can start working. Until then, I am pinned down, alone and not in touch with anyone right now. It is a bit overwhelming. I cannot sleep most of the time, and my dream of starting to work in medicine feels very hard. It has been a tough life so far, but I am optimistic, as that is all there is left to do. Story 72. I am a college student and lost my on-campus job since it required me to be a science, technology, engineering, and mathematics major, and I switched my major this semester. Now the summer is here, which is 3 full months, and I have no income. I am nervous I will not have one before my bills are due. I also have a $3,500 bill that is due next April, so I cannot afford to miss monthly payments toward that. Story 73. My brother and I share a phone. We are poor and it is a long story. He has hit some hard patches recently, and certain events have only increased his depression. I am not qualified to give him the advice he needs, and as things get darker for him, it becomes harder for me to help the brother I care for. It is a sad state of affairs, including social media bullies singling him out. It is what it is, I guess. Humans just do not cut other humans slack. Story 74. Trying to stay mentally healthy at the age of 55. My job is incredibly stressful, and I could be laid off at any moment. The problem is that it is a high-paying cybersecurity job, and that is all I know how to do. I am the sole supporter of a family of 5. I am not sure how much longer I can keep it together, but I need to pay the bills. Story 75. Finances are tight due to unemployment. I am also recovering from an injury and cannot return to work yet. The stress is difficult to manage alone. Story 76. Had a kidney transplant a few years ago. Unfortunately, the immunosuppressant drugs I have to take have caused erectile dysfunction. My brain is willing, but the mechanics do not cooperate. Fortunately, my wife is understanding and says it is not a problem. However, in my head, it feels like a big issue. Our marriage is absolutely solid in every other way, affectionately, and I can still please her. Despite this, I still get very depressed about it. Story 77. I am lonely. My social life has been unfulfilling and unsatisfying for a very long time. I also wish my closest friend would say something and come back to me. He abandoned me when everything was fine between us in 2024 without saying anything. I hate that I spent over a year without him interacting with me at all, despite all my efforts to make myself heard. I have other friendship problems besides the specific friend's absence, but this is really getting to me and is one of the worst things that has ever happened to me. I do not have many friends, and almost all of them feel distant. Just one does not feel distant and gives me enough attention. She has been a good friend too, but it does not feel enough when that one is the only one. Other than that, I do not live in a proper or good enough home, and it is really bad for me. It is dirty, broken, and ugly. There are also many cats that I do not want to live with. 10 cats live here. 3 of them are mine, but I am forced to live with a lot more because my mom takes them in. It is bad for me both mentally and physically. I have even been constantly getting sick because of my home's atmosphere not being good. I always enjoy being in other people's homes whenever I visit. They are always so clean and normal. It hurts me how mine is not. Story 78. Trying to get motivated to go to the gym. I am also playing golf with my father-in-law today, so I need to play well and not look bad like I did on Sunday when I played with him last. Story 79. Depression that has lasted at least 6 months, and my boyfriend's love is fading because of it. My life is falling apart. I have no one but him, no family or friends. I do not know if I am going to survive this one, to be honest. Story 80. I simply cannot afford to live anymore. It is literally too expensive to live, feed myself, and house myself. I am slowly dying. Story 81. Long-distance relationship with the girl I love so much. Unfortunately, she is going to be studying in a different country for the next 2 years, and even if she wanted to move to my country because of its laws, it would be extremely difficult. It is a lot of pressure for both of us. I am exhausted mentally from the challenges long distance brings. I do not think I can hold on any longer for a distant and uncertain future, even if the person could not be more right. It is breaking my heart. Story 82. I feel exhausted inside, constantly stressed, and I do not know what to do about it. I also doubt every aspect of myself. Story 83. I cannot overcome my social media addiction. I have tried deleting the applications, but I keep reinstalling them after a day. I have lost count of how many hours I waste scrolling mindlessly instead of working on my dissertation. Story 84. I cannot afford therapy but desperately need it. There is a cycle where I feel too anxious to work extra hours to earn money for therapy, but I need therapy to manage my work anxiety. I am currently overwhelmed with self-help books instead. Story 85. My wife wants a divorce and has not seen her child since the declaration 10 days ago. She has not talked to me. I am moving the child back to the United States next week to try to escape the difficult life this has become, but it will be a long time before I am okay. Story 86. I feel like I am getting a cold, but I am supposed to leave for my dream vacation, which I have been saving for over a year, next week. Story 87. I own a small business with 10 people. I just fired my son yesterday, and it was difficult. He is knowledgeable and can get a lot of work done, but he was unreliable. He missed days at times with weak excuses and was 15 to 20 minutes late every day. He argued with me in front of other employees, acting like the typical boss's son and taking advantage of me and the company. My heart is heavy. It had to happen, and I was right to do it, but I hate firing people, especially my son. Story 88. 14-year-old son with oppositional defiant disorder. He has been suspended multiple times this year. My husband did not pay taxes several times for his business over the past few years, which caused our accounts to be frozen and all our money seized. We are more broke than ever. Story 89. My wife is abusive, but I love her more than myself. I rationalize her behavior by considering her poor upbringing and toxic parents. Story 90. Accepting the fact that people are unreliable. I need to focus on myself and not help others who do not reciprocate the same energy. Story 91. Living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to find a different career even though I have a bachelor's degree and a project management certificate. I hate my job and it has brought back my depression. Story 92. Long-term retirement finances. We are currently breaking even, but there is potential for making a little more in the near future. Story 93. As a man with a lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender family, I am wondering when it is time to leave. If I wait, are we just sitting ducks until someone with an assault rifle decides to harm me and my family? If I stay, how do I stand by while my fellow citizens and fellow humans are denied due process? How far does this have to go before people like me need to take a much stronger stand? What should I do? Story 94. Trying to find the confidence to start the side hustle I have planned and thought about for a year. I have a great day job with great pay, but I want to build something for myself and just cannot do it. Story 95. I am in the doctor's office waiting for him to arrive to discuss my positive anti-nuclear antibody and centromere antibody tests. I am really scared that I might be seriously ill. It is frustrating because he is 23 minutes late. I dislike this waiting. Story 96. I am spending too much time with my oldest child. I see how it is affecting the other children. My work schedule is making it difficult to share my time. Story 97. I am going through an identity crisis. I was born in Ethiopia and came to the United States when I was 6, but I have lived here for 26 years. I am torn between being American and Ethiopian, and I do not know whom I should spend time with or befriend. Story 98. My wife has been emotionally and verbally abusive for decades and refused to contribute to the household bills. Now she wants a divorce. I am devastated, and the children will be as well. Story 99. My Thai wife, over the years, I fell into the trap of her wanting to have her own business. Many want their own business, regardless of whether they actually know what they are doing. It has been an absolute black hole. But she insists money is just around the corner. I cut her off a couple of times, but I'm starting to doubt she's not throwing my money away. I'm at the point where I can't afford to live outside Thailand now, and I'm getting too old to go elsewhere like back where I came from, the United Kingdom. I figured I'm just gonna have to ride it out here. At least I'm never cold. Story 100. I don't know what the biggest challenge is. The top 3 contenders are: 1. Learning how to be happy alone instead of chasing the wrong women just for the sake of having someone. This is hard, but I'm getting there. Developing a stable budgeting habit and paying off debts I accumulated over the years due to a lack of budgeting skills and poor examples of handling money from my family. This is hard, but it's literally math and determination to stick to that math rather than spending recklessly at expensive festivals all summer now as a single man in his late 20s. Actually, it is hard. Controlling my drinking. I don't drink every day or even every week, and I don't drink regularly. But when I do, I drink until everyone stops together, or until I do something I regret forever, or in more favorable cases, I just pass out blackout drunk. I can't stop myself for the sake of not drinking more. When I drink until I can't hold a drink in my hand. None of these are easy. All of them are my most prioritized goals right now. Story 101. Getting back to the gym. Took a month off due to work stress, lack of focus, and enjoying a new relationship. I have gained weight and feel bloated all the time. It will come back, but I feel as though I have let myself down. Story 102. Being in a toxic marriage, wanting out but feeling stuck because I don't want everyone to see me as a failure. For reference, I am the toxic one because I don't trust my husband, who has caused trust issues. He gaslights me, breaks his word. We have been together for 4 years and married for 3. I told him I had past trauma and didn't want to marry. As he has past trauma he needed to work through as well. He was persistent and I said, well, I love him, why not? I shouldn't have. I told him I wasn't ready but went ahead because he said he understood. Now I'm the crazy one because I can't trust, get mad over everything, threw my phone at him, and he threw it out saying, just because your dad hit you with a phone. This was told to him in confidence as I was abused in my childhood. Doesn't mean you should do it too. Anyway, it's my fault because I made the choice to go along with this toxic marriage. Story 103. My health. The old statement, if you don't have your health, you have nothing, is something I presently realize the meaning of. Story 104. My ex and I broke up yesterday. I lost the most important person in my life. She was my driving force. And now it is all just gone. I do not really want anything or anyone else. The worst part is that this breakup was very similar to my previous one, the one where she was my shoulder to cry on and supported me through it. I thought I was selfish at the time, but she told me I was not, which made me see her in a different light. Now, almost 3 years later, we break up in a nearly identical way. I guess I am selfish. The only difference now is that I think I lost my soulmate. Story 105. She gives many things, but the one thing I am really after is nurturing physical touch. I feel ashamed for not being grateful for the rest and focusing so much on that. However, I cannot deny it. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.